Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge All-Stars Episode 5, and in this video I'm going to be doing a shot-for-shot trailer breakdown for the mid-season trailer that was put at the end of this episode. Then I'm going to be crowning the king and queen of this episode and then getting to some of the comments from my Thursday's review and recap. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff. Alright, so let's deep dive into this mid-season trailer. This season on The Challenge All-Stars, we get two people walking. I think we're going to get a lot more daily challenges where it's going to be pairs of players working together. I think that's going to be the easiest way of figuring out who's like going to win into safety and who is going to be going straight into the elimination. So we see two people hiking together carrying some form of rope. And then we have this shot of Katie talking and she says, "I feel like a complete dirtbag," and halfway of the frame is Kelly Ann. So possibly maybe they're going to be working against each other, or something's going to happen between them, or it's just going to be one weird cut. And kind of like this one where it's like John A is cut with half of Yes, and it looks like Yes is in the deliberation portion, whereas John A is back at the house. Here Yes is saying, "I don't have alliances with anybody and I don't shake hands," where then we go straight into Nehemiah saying, "I'm going to say yes." Will Nehemiah and Yes be butting heads? And Nehemiah wants to take a shot at Yes. I think this is going to be an interesting deliberation, as I feel like Yes has been very much floating under the radar, and maybe Nehemiah is like, "I want to take out Yes." Then we get a shot of Kendall being in another elimination. I wonder who she's going to be going up against. We have Nehemiah back into an elimination. Hizella is in an elimination, which it looks to be like roughly the same way that Kendall is looking, where their helmet aren't like snapped together. Maybe that's what they're trying to put together, is like, oh, Hizella and Kendall are going to go against each other. They have been butting heads quite a bit. They haven't been on the same side of the house. Maybe this is going to be the next elimination. Maybe it's going to be like a Nehemiah versus Big Easy and Hizella going up against Kendall, and maybe they're going to be going up against each other very, very soon. Or maybe this is just editing magic and nobody in these like pictures are going up against each other, which is also a very big possibility. Here is Big Easy, like I was saying. Could be very, very interesting to see. Here's everybody walking to the deliberation where it's Laterian in front of what looks to be Yes, and it looks to be like Yes, even though he is blurred, he looks to be in the same outfit that we just saw him earlier on in this promo, in this mid-season trailer. Here they are out in the party scene where Laterian is talking to Katie saying, "If I get in the ring, I'll unleash the dog." I say that as Katie because the hat says Cooley, so I think that she wins into power and then they make a crown for her, kind of like how Mark had the crown of the Godfather. I think somebody's doing crafts in the house as they are just bored that they don't have TV or anything. And also before this, we have a voiceover from TJ saying, "And whoever wins will take home $500,000. So that's probably going to be at the beginning of the finals. We're still out of the bar scene and Nehemiah is looking back saying, "You think I'm nervous to go against you?" We see Mark there, we see Yes there, and again, Yes is like somewhat dressed in the same outfit that he was at the deliberation and some of the other scenes that we saw. Then we have a shot of Big Easy saying, "You should have been." So it doesn't really flow. If that's what the edit was trying to make it seem like they were talking to each other, it doesn't really flow when you have the two phrases back to back, but they could be talking to each other. But I think this could be editing magic a little bit. Then we have Hizella, what looks to be talking to possibly Mark, and Hizella saying, "Don't do me no favors, B. I'm not your friend no more." We can see Ruthie in the back. Yes is also back there as well. Maybe Hizella is feeling like she's being thrown under the bus a little bit. I will say that we do see more of Hizella in like the earlier promos for the Challenge All-Stars. So if she is going into the elimination, I feel like she's going to win, especially if it's going to be the next elimination, which they're really pushing that, and there's only like 4 more episodes left. So I think they're really pushing that she's going to go into the elimination sooner rather than later. Then we have Anissa looking like she is kind of crying a little bit and very, very sad. Then we have Yes doing a voiceover saying this is all about relationships. Then we have a picture here of Derek with a bandage wrapped around his head, and it looks to be blood. maybe this is a costume party, maybe this is something, but this looks really, really bad if this is real. Then we have the truck daily challenge here. I can't really make out who these two competitors are, but then we have Derek here doing it. I just remember seeing Derek all in the promos in the beginning of the season doing this daily challenge, so I can't wait to see this daily challenge. There's Derek again. Here's Kellyanne. We're going to get an eating daily challenge. I cannot wait. This looks exciting. I'm a proponent of the eating challenges. I know not everybody likes it, but we do get an eating daily challenge coming up. It looks catered eating challenge. We have an elimination where it could be like a tug of war. Maybe it's going to be sort of like the Josh versus Jordan in War of the Worlds 2, where they have a lot of slack and you have to pull it as much as they can, and then they're going to, like, you're standing on a box or something, and then you're going to have to, like, pull it. I can't make out who either one of these two players are, but we can clearly see that Katie is going to be in this elimination. And then we have Latyrian and Anissa getting very, very close with one another. Ooh la la. They are looking very, very happy, and they're cuddling up with each other. My goodness. And then here is, I think, the eating daily challenge, because we can see that Jemmy is just not having it whatsoever. She looks like she's in a stupor. We're going to get a kayaking daily challenge where it's going to be duos doing this kayaking. And when we get here, I feel like we can see that in the one kayak up in front, we can see Ruthie and possibly Mark working together in the kayak. And then in this kayak, we have, I want to say, Jemmy, because that is some very, very blonde hair. I want to think that is Jemmy and yes, competing together in this kayak daily challenge. Then we have Anissa and Alan flipping over their kayak during this daily challenge. They're gonna lose some time, whether they're in front or in back. And then we have this elimination where it looks to be like you have to use a chain to help get up a wall, and you're gonna be like locking in because the chain is locked into a peg in the ground, so you only have so much slack to get up. So you're gonna have to use this chain wisely to get up and then put it at the very top and then ring your bell. This is going to be a very interesting elimination. I'm actually very excited when I saw this one. Then we have this daily challenge where they're trying to put together a puzzle inside a metal crate container that is like used to transport goods on a truck. And we have Latyrian, Big Easy, Ruthie, and then other players down on the other side. There's going to be 2 shipping containers, so there might be teams of 2 going up against each other. And then you're trying to wonder who is getting dropped here, but when you go back a little bit more and you pause it at the right air, you can see that it is John A being dropped as the first person being dropped out of the shipping container. And then we see 2 players actually being dropped at the same time. And so we have 2 players being dropped at the same exact time. One is John A, the other person I cannot tell. And then we have Darrell trekking through the woods. This makes me feel like this goes with the scene that we saw at the beginning of this mid-season trailer where we saw 2 players walking together holding a rope or something. I feel like they could be trekking for a long time. I don't know what Darrell is doing, but I'm happy to see Darrell somewhere in this mid-season trailer. It makes me feel like Darrell is going to be in this season longer and possibly make it to a finals, which I'm happy to see. And then we have TJ walking out of a helicopter, which I think that he is going to be coming over to like greet everyone at the beginning of the finals, as we even hear TJ say at one point, the hard part starts now, which makes me think that this is what we are going to start off with the finals. And as we can see, there's going to be a lot of walking to these finals. Again, I can't make out anybody in these last few shots, but I think these are like the last 6 players that are going to be in the game. And you can see like up at the top of the mountain, there is some form of structure, and maybe something is there for the players as we can see around as we're like getting more and more panoramic views. I think that maybe this is like the last push of the finals. They're going to have to keep on trucking, going through this trail up at the very top and possibly do one last final thing, one last final challenge before they can be crowned challenge champs of All-Stars. But there's definitely some structure up at the very top, and that I think is the finish line to the challenge. And then boom, that's how the mid-season trailer ends. Now, before crowning the king and queen of this episode, I want to first give out some honorable mentions, give out some shoutouts to some performances from this episode, and the first person I want to give a shout out to is Cyrus. And he came into this daily challenge and this elimination with a hurt ankle, but that didn't stop him from giving 110%. The next honorable mention for this episode is going to go to Anissa. She was given no time to prepare. She was kind of blindsided in a way that she was called down to the elimination. She put her game on the line, or Alton put her game on the line, but she didn't let that throw her off at all. She got changed into her gear and was like, I'm ready to go. And she gave Cyrus and Beth the business in that elimination this episode, giving a dominant performance to her. And the next shout out that I want to give is to Alton, who both Anissa and Alton just absolutely crushed that elimination. But the king and queen of this episode has to go to Latyrian and Kendall. Both did really well in the group setting of the daily challenge. And then Latyrian, when going to the memory board checkpoint, he grabbed Kendall, knowing that she was going to do a great job in that memory board. He grabbed her. They worked so well together as a pairing. And then once they were done, they grabbed their logs and they headed out. Latyrian crushed this mini final as he grabbed that log and just was a mad dash, got through the first place, and then Kendall finished third overall, and she was the first woman to finish. I think this just shows that they are two really strong competitors, whether it's in a group setting, a duo setting, or individually. And I think they showed the whole house that they are the most ready to run the finals. I think that they are just crushing it. Both Latyrian and Kendall have done really well up to this point. Now let's get to some comments from my Thursday's review and recap, and the first comment comes from Robert, who says, the music again this episode, chef's kiss. Whoever is compilating the music is doing a public service. My millennial ears appreciate it. I have to say that this episode overall was really, really good, but the music was so good. Every time there was a music drop, I was like, ooh, this song? Ooh, this song from my Boo Hitman Club remix by Ghost Town DJs, Good Vibrations, Mo Money, Mo Problems, Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero to end the episode. Oh, it was just so good. The next comment comes from Angela, who says, I love Jenna as the Beast Barbie, but that line from Jemmy saying Kendall is the original Beast Barbie has stuck with me because it is true. She's great. She is absolutely crushing it. Ever since episode 2 and her winning the elimination against Rochelle, her confidence has been through the roof, and now she's been empowered twice. I think all eyes are on her. I think she doesn't have many friends in the house. I think Darrell is her closest ally in the house, and I think Kellyanne has been doing a great job being close with her. But even this episode, Kellyanne was like, okay, Kendall has been doing really well in the challenges, outperforming me, and so I think that is gonna put her on blast. I think Kendall's gonna have to keep on performing well in every single challenge, or she's going to be thrown into eliminations more often than not. Naturally Done comments, why are the teams gold, silver, and copper? What happened to bronze? How did 4th place beat 3rd place? Maybe it's like a evaluation of like how much they cost in the real world, because I know copper is like super expensive. I don't know. I'm not an appraisal person. I don't know why they don't use bronze. The next comment comes from Kenya, who says, I need Kendall and Kellyanne to take each other out the game so Anissa can have her win. I almost feel like that's what the edit is setting up, is that like Kellyanne this episode was like, okay, I'm taking notice of how well Kendall is doing in the daily challenges, and maybe possibly in a future episode, maybe next episode or the episode after, Kellyanne's gonna be like, look, let's take a shot at Kendall. We need to send her out of this game, and maybe, possibly, Kendall gets put into an elimination and Kellyanne is there. So I almost feel like possibly that's what the edit is setting up. Nadia comments, I feel like this twist is gonna be terrible for Anissa because I could see guys calling on her a bunch. That is true. I mean, she is the elimination queen, being in 20 plus eliminations and crushing them, and she did a great job this episode. But yeah, I could see them being like, oh, I want to call on Anissa. So I have all the faith in the world of Anissa winning against anybody, but the more times you get put into eliminations, the more chances you could go home. So I hope that other players are going to be wanting to step up. Maybe other players will want to call on somebody else, and possibly she can be safe. But Hira says Cyrus was definitely acting out of pure emotion. He could have actually won if he chose Eric. He probably would have picked Katie or Kellyanne as his partner, and I'm not sure how either pairing would have done in this challenge, but I know they would have moved at a much slower pace than Alton. 100% agree. I think if Big Easy was in there, I think he would have picked probably Kellyanne. I don't know how well Cyrus's ankle would have done because he would have still been the one climbing the walls, but I do think that you do bring up a good point that if Big Easy was in there with, say, Kellyanne or Katie, I think it would have been a much better shot, or at least a little bit closer, if it was them against Cyrus and Beth than if it was Alton and Anissa like we got and they was just pure domination. The next comment comes from Emily, who says, when I heard Anissa's name, my heart jumped. I was gonna lose it if Anissa went home. I love her too much. I agree. I think Anissa's playing a really solid game so far, and I think that if, say, Alton called her in and then they somehow would have lost that elimination, I think that would have been so heartbreaking, especially for Anissa. Donnell says, it was hilarious and embarrassing to see Cyrus standing on Beth like that. Alton and Anissa killed it. It was cool to see a partner elimination. Been a long time. Yeah, that was crushing. I think it was great to see their friendship and like both wanted to go on and keep on playing in this game no matter what. I mean, I think Cyrus was putting his ankle and his like health in jeopardy by how many times he was like falling on his bum ankle. But then Beth is like wanting to just give it 110%, and she was going to put her own body and physicality on the line to try to get Cyrus over the wall and to get farther into this game. They did a great job trying to like do whatever they could to stay in this game. But yeah, there was no stopping Alton and Anissa. The next comment comes from Maya, who says, kudos to Beth for not going out the villain this season. Beth was great this season. I think I was a little bit worried about Beth coming onto the season. I think she was great this season. I think from her commentary to her performances in the daily challenge, I thought she was really great. I think she was fearless, especially compared to how she played her earlier seasons on her OG seasons. I just really enjoyed Beth on this season of All-Stars, and I hope to see her back maybe on season 2. And the final comment comes from Cheeky Marie, who says, anyone else notice how TJ said, we will see you very soon? I don't know if it was different from how he normally says in the future. Have we seen Beth and Kendall arguing yet? Maybe Beth comes back for some reason. Possibly. Maybe there is like a medical DQ, or possibly there is a redemption house happening, and maybe like after the next eliminations, they're going to be able to go against each other in like a house of the exiled, and they're going to have to like battle it out and come back into the game. I'm not a huge fan of redemption houses, but I did notice that TJ was saying that we will see you soon, no doubt. Whether that's going to be this season or possibly next season, we're going to have to wait and see. But that is it for this video. What did you think about this episode of the Challenge All-Stars? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about TJ's words of saying, we'll see you soon? Do you think there is a redemption house, or do you think there's some other twist, or do you think he's talking about possibly in the future of like another Challenge All-Stars? Let me know anything and everything you thought about this episode down in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge All-Star content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.